There are a lot of books that have never been adapted before. So join me as we take a look to what they are and if they could or not. Welcome back to BG's Books. I'm Mr. BG, and today I will be going over what books have never been adapted into a movie or TV show and why I think they should. So, you're probably wondering by now, didn't you already upload a video like this? And I say, yes, I did, but I took it down for a couple reasons. First of all, I just didn't like the general outcome of the video. It was very sloppy. I didn't really have a plan for what books I wanted to talk about. I was just kind of randomly talking and saying books. And also, a lot of the books that I mentioned already had adaptations that I had never known about. And that's a bit of a problem when you're talking about books that have never been adapted before. So I decided to take down that video, start over. This is the new attempt. And what I did before this video was that I actually looked up what books don't have adaptations yet. And so this is the correct video this time. I've actually done my research. I can confirm that these don't have movie adaptations or TV show adaptations or any adaptations currently. So I think this is a fresh start, and I hope that this video will be a lot better than it actually is. But anyway, so how this will go is that I will just have a book on the shelf, which I will take off and then talk about it and then see whether or not it would be better as a movie or a TV show. So let's get right into it. Come on, be adapted already. So the first book I'm here to talk about today is from the Bachman Books Omnibus by Stephen King, specifically about Rage. So Rage is, of course, the first book that Stephen King wrote under the Richard Bachman pseudonym. And unfortunately, it will never get a movie adaptation. That's just not even in the question. Because for those of you who don't know, Rage, well, let's just say it's a very problematic book, and Stephen King himself took it off of shelves, and he will never discuss or release Rage ever again. So if a movie hasn't been made in the 20 years that it has been published, I don't think a movie ever will be made. But after I read Rage, I kept thinking about what an awesome movie it would be. I was even thinking about like who I would cast and how I would write it and stuff. It's like I think it could be really good as a movie, but you know, of course, due to the controversy around it, it never will. But I'm just saying that Rage would make a very great movie, and had history not gone the way it had and we still had Rage with us, I think that it could have been a really good like 90-minute movie, just like perfectly adapting the book almost. There would have to be a couple differences, of course, but for the most part it would be a very faithful adaptation, I imagine, to the book, which I love so dearly. Come on, be adapted already. So the next book I want to talk about is another Richard Bachman book, and it is Roadwork. So I guess I should explain by now that the books that I will be talking about maybe have had a planned adaptation in the past, but nothing's really come of it or anything. So like The Long Walk, which is another Bachman book, that's finally getting an adaptation in September. Or like it's getting a prequel miniseries to the new movies later this year and stuff. So Roadwork kind of falls into that category because back in about 2019, the Muschietti siblings, who made the new It movies and the prequel It series coming to HBO. But anyway, back in about 2019, when It 2 was about to come out, they started saying something about making a Roadwork adaptation because there hasn't been a Roadwork adaptation yet. And so that's been kind of up in the air since about 2019, and the last update I heard from it is about 2019, and it's 2025 now. It's actually about the middle of 2025, so I think it's safe to say that that just didn't go through and that Roadwork will not be happening. Anyway, I think that's a really big shame because Roadwork is actually a great book. I know a lot of people hate it for whatever reason, but I think it is a very severely underrated Stephen King / Richard Bachman book. And I think that a movie would have worked really well. And knowing how good the Muschiettis did it, I'm sure that their version of Roadwork could have looked really good. And yes, it could have been a movie because it's really short. I know this is kind of misleading, but the pages are actually like pretty thick. Yeah, the pages are really thick. So, yeah, I think it could be a really good movie. So, yeah, that's Roadwork.
Come on, be adapted already.
So, the third book I have for you is yet another Richard Bachman book. It is The Regulators, also known as the sister companion novel to Desperation, because I find it weird that The Regulators has never gotten a movie yet, because Desperation actually got a miniseries back in 2006 with Ron Perlman and all that. So it's just kind of weird that both books are kind of connected by like the same sort of thing, which I have yet to discover, but yet only Desperation has an adaptation and The Regulators hasn't. I've I've looked it up before, and there have been some like rumors or murmurs or something about making a Regulators adaptation, but from what I can figure out, nothing has happened of it yet. So I don't know if we ever will. But I think that it would be nice to get an adaptation of this one, just to go along with the Desperation adaptation that we got almost 20 years ago. So yeah, I think I'm going to move away from Stephen King now because I think you guys get the point.
Come on, be adapted already.
All right, so pivoting away from Stephen King and into the other books that I want to discuss, I've decided to start this one with the rest of the Dune series. So, I mean, of course, we all know the famous movie adaptations of Dune. Dune is right there. But of course, there was the '84 movie directed by David Lynch, and then, of course, the new movies directed by Denis Villeneuve, starring Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya. But a lot of people don't know this, but there was a 2000 miniseries for Dune, and it actually got a sequel miniseries in 2003 called Children of Dune, which the first part adapts Dune Messiah, and parts 2 and 3 adapt Children of Dune. So instead of adapting Dune again, I suggest adapting the other Dune books that haven't gotten adaptations. So, like, one that did get a head start is this one, Sisterhood of Dune, which became that show last year, Dune Prophecy. So I think that's really interesting. But I'm talking about like God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, Chapter House Dune, and then like all the House trilogy right here, and then like Dune 7 and 8. It's like there's so many more Dunes to adapt besides just the first and second book, and occasionally the third one. So I think that like we should finish off Frank Herbert's 6 book series with more adaptations, and then even get into more of the Brian and Kevin Dune books by adapting Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune. Of course, those are 7 and 8 respectively, and then the House trilogy, and then like the Duke, Lady, and Heir of Caladan and all that. So like I think that Dune, it is a very expansive universe in the books, and I think that several movies and shows, whether or not they take place in the current remake universe or not, could be really interesting to see, and we would just see another side of Dune that people who don't read the Dune books would just not see any other way. So yeah, adapt more Dune.
Come on, be adapted already.
All right, and so the next book I want to talk about is Time Enough for Love by Robert A. Heinlein. I'm sure you've all heard of the Starship Troopers movie that released back in 1996, I believe. It was like a 90s action science movie, science fiction. I don't know. It did okay, I believe. But anyway, so that was like Robert A. Heinlein's most famous book, or at least that was the one with an adaptation. But I'm talking about this one, Time Enough for Love, where, from what I have looked up, doesn't have any movie or show adaptation, and probably never will. And I think that this would be a really good TV show because, I mean, look at the length, and the pages are... Okay, the pages are pretty thick, but the print is pretty small, so I think a TV show would definitely be the way to go. But it seems like it's about the same as Robert A. Heinlein's other books, science fiction, bit of humor in there, kind of satirical a little bit. And so, yeah, I just think that maybe outside of Starship Troopers, if there are any other Robert A. Heinlein adaptations outside of Starship Troopers, I don't know about it, but I think Time Enough for Love should definitely be one of them. So maybe we should make this happen, guys.
Come on, be adapted already.
So the next book I've selected for you is Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. So, of course, this is a very chunky book, as you can see right here. So it's about the levels of like It or The Stand right there. But it is a very chunky book, and it does not have a movie adaptation. But I will tell you something interesting. I looked up if it has a film adaptation. It does not, and probably won't, because of like not only how big it is, but also how confusing it is. Infinite Jest is one of the most confusing books of all time, at least from what I've seen from lists and stuff. But I don't think this would work as a film. I think it would work as a series. Like maybe not even a mini series. I think just like a full-on series. Just like multiple seasons or even like 20 episodes, like hour long each, like one of those premium HBO shows or something like that. But anyway, so yeah, it would definitely work more as a show versus a movie. But something interesting about the movie is that I found out that someone does have the film rights to making Infinite Jest a movie, but they just have no interest in making it one at all. So someone does have the power to make this a movie, but they just don't want to. And seeing how large this is, I can't say I really blame them. So yeah, maybe we should start campaigning to get this a show instead of a movie.
Come on, be adapted already.
All right, so the next book I have for us is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. So if you don't know, this is basically a modern retelling of Carrie, but instead of about bullying for girl problems, it is about racism, because Tiffany D. Jackson writes a lot of books about racism. That's like her whole thing. So I guess you could technically say that if you want to count Carrie as a film adaptation of this, I guess you could, but it's more an adaptation of Carrie, obviously, than The Weight of Blood. So I think that like a Weight of Blood adaptation, definitely as a movie, would really be cool to get to this book, because this book, even though it basically is a retelling of Carrie, it does so much good on its own without just being like a Carrie remake, that I think a movie could do really well potentially. You could make a mini series out of it, but I think a movie could do just as well. So if you ask me, let's start getting The Weight of Blood into a movie. It probably won't happen like relatively soon, because this book is still decently new. It came out in 2022. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get a movie in the next couple years. But as far as I know, there's no plans to make a movie for it, and I think there should be. So let's try to get The Weight of Blood to be a movie.
Come on, be adapted already.
All right, and so I have one last book for you all today. I know there's so many more books that I could choose from, but I just decided to narrow it down to however many I've done in this video. But our last one is I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. So, of course, I read this very recently. I reviewed it if you want to see that review. But this book is just like a satirical take on 80s slashers. So I think a movie similar to like Scream could work, because if you remember, the first Scream movie was just basically making fun of slasher movies and horror movies in general and just kind of the horror tropes and everything. So I think that a Scream style movie could definitely work for I Was a Teenage Slasher, because the book itself is like Scream before Scream would have existed. So I think a movie could just like replicate that super well, and it might do really good in the ratings. But yeah, I don't think there's been much talk of a movie so far, because this book just came out last year. Like I think July of 2024 is when it came out. So I definitely think that there could be movie potential in the future. And yes, I say movie because this book is only like 300 something pages, like almost 400 pages, and the font is pretty big and the pages are pretty thick. So yeah, this would definitely be like a Scream style movie, and I love Scream. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So if they make a Scream like movie for this book, which was just insane, I would love that so much. But yeah, guys, that is where I end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And as I said, there's a lot more books on my bookshelf that do not have any movie or show adaptations. And I just did not talk about them because I want to see if maybe this video will do well so that I can do like a part 2 or something. I'm thinking of like doing a part 2 for this bookshelf here, and then like having another video just entirely dedicated to Stephen King books, because that is like a gold mine for unadapted material, the Stephen King bookshelf. So I don't know, I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to see if you guys want that or not. So please let me know if you want to see any continuation of this, because this was just really fun talking about what books could become movies or shows. And while you're at it, please tell me any books that you love that have never had any adaptations, so then we can kind of be like, okay, would this work or no? But yeah, that's basically the end of the video. This has been BG's Books, and I've been Mr. BG, and I will see you guys in the next video.